Aries, this is Leah with Half Moon Tarot. I will be doing your November 2022 reading. I've already meditated over the cards and I've asked that Spirit bring whatever is necessary for you to hear, for you to know, expect, and be prepared for, okay? So in the meditation, the Knight of Wands came out, followed by the Queen of Wands, followed by the Nine of Coins, okay? And the first thing that came up was don't give up. Don't give up, Aries. You have been moving forward. It might be moving forward at a slow pace for you. I understand that. But you can't discount those small steps that you have been making forward, right? The progress that you have been making, using the knowledge that you already had to make educated and informed and non-emotional decisions, okay? They've been small steps, but if you turn around and look how far you've come, then you know how much progress you've made, right? So I think a good revisiting to where you came from, to where you are now, will allow you to see the growth that you've made, right? So this is for my Aries that journal, going back and reading some passages that you journaled. This is for my Aries that love to take pictures and videos, going back and looking at yourself, no matter how cringy it is in those videos, and really appreciating how far you've come. And I think that will start to release you from the bind that is progression, right? What we think progression is, and really not understanding how it works. So once you do a good revisit on yourself, you're gonna be like, oh my goodness, I have really grown. I have really grown, okay? But that doesn't mean you're at the peak, Aries. It just means that you can see progression. So really stay humble, really stay in yourself, continue to make yourself a priority, continue to make your energy and the passion that you put out a priority, your art form, make sure that is a priority for you, because that is what settles the home. This could be home, this could be home, a partner could be home, but when you are in a space where there's trust, when you are grounded in a space that you've put yourself and your art form as a priority, you have made peace within the home. Okay. And the Nine of Coins, I don't think it too much has to do with something around you. I think that it is more of like this light bulb moment that you have, that it's like, wow, like I've really grown. I didn't realize how much I've grown. Right? And it's really like you want to have this conversation with a lot of people, and a lot of people ain't gonna want to hear it. Right? So it's like a back and forth thing. Like you're really proud that you have grown, and some people don't care. And you're going to be looking to those outside resources for validation in your growth. Okay? And you have to understand that this is your journey. This is your experience, and not everybody is going to agree. Not everybody is going to notice it. There will be some, right? But that's where the staying humble comes in. That's where the sticking to making yourself a priority, and your vision tangible. Okay, this is what we have to push through, because you're going to get a taste of some people just not caring. Some people just not giving a fuck. Okay. All right. Let's get into the reading. Aries, November 2022. All right, Aries, the cards that come out are the Seven of Swords, followed by the Six of Swords, followed by the Empress, okay? And your thought process is really going to control how you move forward, okay? Your thought process is going to control how you move forward, and we have to make sure that the direction that we're moving in is going to make us diverse and not adverse. Okay. Because the Empress is really, it's a major arcana in this point of the spread, right? It's a major arcana period, but it's in a major spot within this spread because the Empress, for example, she's very diverse in the space that she comes from royalty. She is she's got a lot of money. She's got a lot of relationships. She knows who her family members are. She knows her lineage, right? So she's very secure in that space, but also she can be in a space with people that may have less than her, that they don't share the same background, but they look alike a little bit, okay? She can be in the castle and she can be in the village, okay? She's diverse in that way. But also the Empress can be a little adverse in the way that she does things, okay? She puts herself in between a rock and a hard space quite often. And it's unnecessary. And I think moving backwards, the swords, the thought process will move you forward. But also the tongue will move you forward. So you have to be able to start to communicate. You have to be able to start to tap into those emotions and figure out what they are trying to say. Because I think that most of the time with my Aries, you all have a problem communicating your emotions. Because it's like, just do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, right? Or it is some type of resentment there for something that you said yes to that you didn't really want to do. So now you're taking it out in different spaces in your life, and that is not okay. Okay. So we have to put ourselves in a place where we can start to communicate. We have to put ourselves in a safe space so that we can communicate and really take accountability. Because the Seven of Swords, it does talk about accountability. Well, did you say anything when they said that to you? Did you tell her that you didn't like her doing this, that, and the other? Did you speak up when they skipped over you? Or were you silent and allowing that to eat at you? You gotta speak up for yourself, but in such a way that it's just like, this isn't working for me. Let me explain why this isn't working for me. Because that is where our communication starts to break down. We don't speak up. So once you start to speak up and advocate for yourself, then you will be able to start to move from the perspective of non-communication to full communication. And when we're in full communication, we stop getting ourselves put between a rock and a hard place, right? We kind of move through life unfazed when there's full communication and we have the ability to be diverse. Okay? What great card. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. All right, the next card that comes out is the Eight of Wands, followed by the King of Wands, Aries, okay? So let's talk about this Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands, to me, probably should have been Five of Wands, and Five of Wands probably should have been Eight of Wands, but that's just how I see these cards. But the Eight of Wands, it's like there has to be a compromise. You can't do the same thing over and over and over and expect to be whole. Okay? Yeah, you fool. You full of shit. Okay? When we start to take up responsibility for ourselves and start to advocate for ourselves, we break a little piece of us off. Okay? And let me explain just a little bit deeper. Okay? The Eight of Wands talks about compromise and the risk that comes with it. Okay? And I may do something knowing that it's a scary thing to do, or I might do something knowing that I could lose this friendship. I might say this knowing that the way they receive it might not be the way that I meant it or intended, right? And that's okay. That's okay because they're words. They're my words. And you have to be able to take that risk. And once you do that, and once you put yourself out there, Aries, and you start to advocate for yourself, that shell of fear starts to crumble. That shell of moving from not advocating to advocating, that shell starts to pop off. Okay? And that's where the movement comes in of the Six of Swords. We're starting to move away from not speaking up for ourselves. We're starting to move away from not allowing, but preserving. Okay? We're preserving our sanity. We're preserving our minds. Because if I don't say something now, I'm going to think about this later. I need to preserve my mind. How can I do that? I don't want to obsess over this. Let me communicate. Let me just get the answer now, instead of allowing it to fester into resentment for that other person because I didn't speak up, because I didn't let them know what I like and what I don't like, what I will accept and what I won't accept. So then the King of Wands comes in, and the King of Wands is like, child, running it. Okay? But that's that confidence that you start to gain when you start to recognize it. So you have to be willing to compromise. Be willing to compromise yourself for the sake of growth. Be willing to compromise in communicating your thoughts, passions, fears in order to move into the King of Wands. And moving into the King of Wands is like this radiant confidence. You're going to be glowing. Okay? And this will put you more in the space of diversity. Okay? All right. Last card that comes up is the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands. I just have this feeling that it's going to be like you speak up, you advocate for yourself, and for a moment, for just a split second, and a split second could be an actual split second or it could be a week, because that's a split second to a whole lifetime, right? You'll be in this space of like wondering, okay? Wondering and Wandering, okay? So you're going to be wondering and wandering. And I believe that in that space, you'll find what brings you joy. You'll find what gets you fired up, right? Because going back into the meditation, we're still like moving through our art. We're still creating. We're still, working something up, because we still need to be humble within ourselves according to the meditation, okay? And in between this advocation for yourself and communication and becoming more diverse and doing all that, right in between there is this real narrow space for exploration in passion, exploration in art form, exploration in branching out into things. Okay. So kind of it's like a wonderment about branching out, and you're wandering towards it. It is something that is so subtle, but I think it's going to be so impactful later on that it had to be noticed. Notice that you're wandering. Notice what it is that you are running into quite often. That could be so subtle, but it will be impactful later on, right? I do have an example of this in my own life that I had to build a relationship with because it was happening way too often. I would be driving down the street and a street would stick out to me, just the street name. And I'd be like, I'm never going to forget that name. And I know exactly where it is now. Okay. And then maybe a year or two later, I will move to that street. Okay. Not because I was looking on that street or anything like that. That was a one-time seeing of that street. Something that I could be riding past a whole bunch of times. But in this particular moment, I see the street and I'm like, there's something important about that street. Boop, 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 boop. Go on with my life. 2 years later, I'm moving on that street. Now that street is a part of me. Okay? So it might be something so subtle as that. It could be people that you keep running into in the oddest of places. That's an indication that your circles are coming together. But just keep running into the same people in the oddest of places. It is something that you keep wandering into, that you may wonder about, but it's so minute. I wouldn't put too much thought into it, but hold it in the back of the head, okay? Because it's going to be impactful coming up, okay? And whatever time that frame that may be is the time frame that they might be, okay? All right, Aries, this has been your November 2022 reading. like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about me, and I will see y'all next month. Private readings are in January. I'll talk to y'all. Bye.